we're here at the cricket today watching the Proteas take on the Australians in a series that's been marred by controversy with all the ball tampering allegations and whatnot. For those of you who don't know, the Australians were caught ball tampering using sandpaper to rough up one side of the ball. Young Cameron Bancroft, with the support of his captain and his vice captain, really went beyond and then had a real public trial and is sent home and banned for about a year now, and that's been really tough for the series. What I wanted to talk about though was the parallel with artificial intelligence when it comes to ball tampering. So I saw a little segue here and I thought I'd chat about it. When we think about the way we're going to build our algorithms and build our artificial intelligence, we're going to have to give it goals, right? So a goal for this example might be to win a cricket match or to win a cricket series. And that artificial intelligence is going to have to decide what actions to take in order to achieve that goal. So in a ball tampering allegation, the reason that people cheat or sportsmen cheat is because the incentives to win are so great. The incentives for the Australians to win the series were so big that those players were willing to go above and beyond the rules of the game. So when we think about our algorithms or think about artificial intelligence, how are we going to make sure that the AI stays within the rules of the game? How are we going to use our programming and make sure that they don't go beyond what our own interests are? And that in the field is what's called the alignment problem. We can program a goal into an AI saying we want it to win a cricket match, but what happens when it goes outside the rules of the game? We have to be very careful with the way we program these things, the way we think about the algorithms, because as they become more and more involved in our lives and start to dictate decision making, how are we going to keep them in check? And that's why the field of artificial intelligence is so ethically problematic, ethically challenging, and needs a lot of work to be done. So I just thought I'd jump on quickly and give a quick rundown of that. Sandpapergate is going to be something that AI is going to face, and how we're going to deal with it. Thinking about the way that the Australians have been treated by the media and by the public trial over this ball tampering has made me think of two articles that I wrote for my blog that could be quite relevant. So I thought I'd use this vlog to share a little bit on that and expand on some details. The first one is called The Perils of Hero Worship, and here's what I wrote there. So this first article says the following. It says, "For those of us out there who are looking to do big things in the world, I hesitate caution when aiming to emulate the lives of those you aspire to be. The true skill is to be able to isolate the principles, the values, and the tactical thinking that made the career of that particular person and transfer those to the specific situation." Basically, what I'm trying to say is that when you're looking at someone you look up to, a role model or a big sportsman or celebrity or whoever you look up to as a person, it's important not to look at their entire life and try and base your life completely around that. Because the public perception you see is not the whole person. And I think we see that when something like this happens, when a major sportsman, a leader of a team, a very important figure in Australian sport, gets caught for ball tampering, for an illegal, ethically problematic decision. And so it's important to see someone like Steve Smith as an amazing cricketer, but not be determined to hold him up to the same ethical standards as you would yourself or somebody else. So hero worship can be dangerous when something like this comes out, because if you've built your life as a kid around Steve Smith as your hero, and this comes out, it can shatter your identity. It can shatter your role model. So it's important to know that he's an amazing cricketer. That does not mean that he is an amazing person on top of it. That's what that article was trying to say. The second article was about people in fame, and it's called Dimming the Spotlight. And so here's some of my thoughts from that article. In Dimming the Spotlight, I write about a similar type of topic, which is the pressure that we put celebrities under and famous people under because of the intense spotlight that's on them every second of their lives. I use the analogy or the metaphor of Amy Winehouse's death to try and talk through this phenomenon, where we take a very talented person as a youngster, we give them the world, we make them on this huge pedestal, and then they can't handle it because it's too much pressure on one human being. In your life, there's no one looking at you every second of the day trying to figure out, are you doing the right thing, are you doing the wrong thing? And your mistakes and your ethical challenges often go unpunished because you don't have that intense pressure. Whereas we do this thing with musicians and sports people and people we look up to, and we put them under such intense pressure that how can we expect them to be anything else? And that's why so many famous people go through such difficult times. I think that's important when we think about ethics or we think about the way we look at people. We have to realize that the public persona is not the same as the private persona. And we cannot expect someone like a Justin Bieber or some mega star who's lived his whole life in the spotlight to be completely in control and to know how to deal with it. That's just beyond the scope of it. So that's what this article was trying to say. The person never gets to take off the mask. Their onstage persona becomes your everyday getup. And I write here, I wonder if that mask that we force our celebrities to wear is the reason why they lose themselves. The spotlight that we shine into every aspect of their personal lives becomes one that suffocates their true selves. It asks them to be the person that we want them to be. It asks them to act and sing and dance for our pleasure and ours alone. We want to live vicariously through these mega famous people. And that's scary. Forcing them to wear a mask so that you can enjoy the entertainment, and then when something goes wrong, jumping on them with all the vitriol and the hate and all of that stuff in the world is really, really tough, and I don't think we do them justice. And so when something like this happens with the Australian cricket team, I really have sympathy for the guys, even though it's a terrible thing to do, the ball tampering, but the vitriol that comes after that, it's simply not on. And that's something we need to work through as a society. That's it for today's vlog. We talked a little bit about AI, about the ball tampering incident in the cricket, and a little bit about 2 articles I wrote. I'll link them down below if you'd like to go and read them.